Good morning, everybody. You just have to excuse me because I'm running a little bit late. I've got all my curls in this morning, just running a little bit late. So I just need to get my Ugg boots on. So you'll just have to give me 2 seconds. I've got the dog. Where are my cards for the reading are here. And I'm here, I'm coming. I always like to have a candle. How is everybody? Oof! It is really chilly here. Good morning. I'm just getting myself ready. I haven't got my Ugg boots on yet. Oh, so cold here. Thank you so much for popping on. For today's reading. Let me get my candle. How is everybody doing? How's Gina doing? How's Sakara doing? How are you guys? How's everything where you are? Is it hot and sweaty? Because I know one of you's in the States and I think Sakara is in somewhere in the Middle East again. I can't remember. Is it Iran? I can't remember. Anyway, how are you doing? Right, candle lit. Yeah, I'm just going to take a few moments just to center myself, because often, when we're rushing, we can lose our center. So I'm just going to have a minute. 2 feet on the floor. Take a few deep breaths. Normally I'm always in here like 5 minutes before I go live. So I have an opportunity just to center and ground my energy before I come on, because when you're doing these lives, it does take a bit more energy than you kind of think, and to really kind of hold on to your center and your integrity. It takes a lot. Okay, so I'm going to be really honest. I did pull some cards last night, and I've got them. In fact, I drew the tarot deck last night. And listen, I might talk to the cards in a minute, but there is something more pressing that I really want to talk about. And this is sort of been, kind of brewing. And I'm a great observer, and I'm watching the world at the moment, and I'm watching what is happening. And I don't want to just be another voice out there that says something and hasn't really thought about it and really tuned into it. And so it started with my friend Francesca, who uses the color potential cards, had done a bit of a kind of a reading on, reading 1, reading 2. And I picked reading 2, and one of the words that had come up about doing less of was visibility. And I was like, oh God, that's really interesting, because I'm quite visible. And so I questioned her on a couple of things, and she came back and she said, Jen, I actually think it's more to do with your internal visibility, and that you need to do less of. And I knew what she was saying, which was basically, I'm hiding a part of myself right now because it's not being quite ready and formed. And so all this weekend, I have been asking for guidance. I work with, in particular, more recently, the mystic Teresa of Avila, who literally was alive during the Spanish Inquisition. So a very, very powerful mystic. And she, Caroline Mice, the spiritual teacher, had done quite a lot, has done some work with Teresa of Avila. And it's in her book, Entering the Castle, which I'm hoping to be able to do a bit of a pilgrimage on with some woman later this year. It's something I'm really excited about. I'm just putting it out there right now But I was speaking to a girlfriend of mine who is a doctor of ministry theology, and I was running it past her, and she was like, could I sign up for that, please? So I'm kind of excited about that. But anyway, getting back to the point. So I was asking Teresa, and I was asking for a higher guidance as to how excuse me, I've got a dog that wants to come in. I'm coming back. Come on then, in you come. You can get on your cushion. Basically, I've been asking for guidance around what we're going and what we're seeing in the world at the moment. You know, I can just see so much hate and so much division, and it's really, really, really bothering me, because I see that, in fact, the Queen of Cups did come up in this week's reading, but the Queen of Cups has basically gone missing. And I tell you what signaled something for me was when my old au pair from London, this beautiful woman, who's very gentle and she's an extraordinarily beautiful soul, and she lives in Hungary, and the prime minister, I'm not quite sure, basically in Hungary is homophobic and is trying to pass some laws around. I'm not entirely sure, but basically, she basically said on her Facebook, normally she posts pictures and, you know, little trips that she's on, and she came forth and she said, I will not have my children infused with hate, told to hate certain people because of what they choose to do with their life. I will not have it. And I do feel like there's this uprising that I, as a mother, am being called as well. It's like I will not stand by and watch this division. It's like when you see, you know, bullies in a playground, and, you know, you're watching it and you're going, this is wrong. Oh, it's just kids. And it's like, no, it's wrong. This is not wrong. This is, you know. Anyway, so I've been asking for some guidance, and I'm going to be really mindful about the words that I'm using to talk about, because, or maybe I will just talk about, maybe I will just use the words, but I'm also very mindful that this will obviously flag this video. But it's around the fact that there is a situation all around the world where we have a public health situation, and we have governments who are choosing to take a very hard line on people who are choosing not to have a vaccine, okay? For whatever reason, they are choosing not to. And for people who are choosing, you know, who have issues around wearing a mask too, okay? I'm just bringing those two things up, okay? So first thing I'm going to be really clear about is I do not use the word I'm about to use lightly, okay? I'm not going to use it lightly. And the reason I'm using it is because it was a word that came to me that I needed to use. There has been a lot of people in like public outcry, because there have been freedom marches all over the world at the weekend around people saying, listen, I am not consenting to this. I do not want to do this to my body. I am choosing not to do this. I am pro-choice. I don't want to do it, okay? I do not want to do it, and I do not give you the right to tell me what I need to do with my body, okay? And there are people going, this is around public health, and there are people out there and they should have been wearing masks and they're being irresponsible, and this is about us doing the right thing to protect each other, and how dare they, and all the rest of it, okay? The word that came to me this morning that I have to speak of is that this is around consent. And the other issue that we have around consent, particularly for women, is rape, okay? And I do not use this word lightly. If you are being forced to give something up of your body, okay, and you're not consenting to it, it is a rape, okay? And then if you are afterwards in the interrogation process, you know, the police or the health people who are coming to sort of check you out afterwards to see and verify whether you've been raped or not, okay, say, oh, by the way, why didn't you ask him to wear a condom to protect you from potentially getting pregnant or getting a STD or whatever? Can you see how it's very similar to people who are standing up saying, I do not consent to you telling me what I need to do with my body, and you're also telling me that I need to be wearing a mask while I'm doing this. Can you see how it's very similar? Can you see how that energy is very similar? And if you don't, maybe ask me to explain it better. Because the reason this came up was because when I was studying Indigenous studies, okay, way back when, I was doing a comparative analysis of different services. And I don't know why it came up, and I can't remember the exact context in which I was writing it. But I recall that the OBG doctor, Christiane Northrop, had been writing about how she had been given a medical intuitive reading by Caroline Myss, the mystic that I am also, the spiritual teacher I'm sort of doing a bit of studying with at the moment. Caroline Myss has got this ability to basically look at your energy field and go, oh, this has happened then, that's happened then, you're holding on to resentment from this, you've got this disease because of this, that, the next thing. So she says to Christiane Northrop, you're registering a rape in your energy field between around 21 and 22. And Christiane goes, I was never raped at 21 or 22. And she said, well, it is registered in your energy field that this is what has happened to you. You have been raped. And she sort of sat there and she thought about it, and she said, okay, the only thing that I can think about is that at that time I was doing my medical training. And I remember distinctly how I felt of being told that I had to shut down all my female intuitiveness in order just to sit in my rational mind and kind of just in this logical mind that was just like, look at it this way, this is the process, and shut down all of this feminine nonsense that's going, or bedside manner that's going, you know, that's not healing. Well, we now know that is healing. You know, the caring, the kindness. Let me tell you, when I've been in hospitals and there's been a nurse who's just been gentle, that bedside manner, that could be more healing than any IV drip you get, okay? So that registered as a rape in her system. And you know, when we use that word rape, it is so violent. It is so violent because it is somebody doing something, telling you to shut down a part of yourself in order to, you know, comply to what somebody else wants. So make no mistake that I'm using this word knowing that the implication of using it is quite intense and quite serious. But when people are standing behind and supporting people and finger pointing at people who are saying, please do not rape my body and make me do what I don't want to do with it, and then tell me I need to be wearing a mask too is like saying, yeah, you know, to any woman or man who's been raped, you know, yeah, I can take whatever I want from your body, and no, by the way, I'm not wearing a condom. I'm just going to leave that there, okay? That's what I've got to say about that. My second point is how we have treated our Indigenous people in Australia has been horrible, okay? And when I came and I studied about Indigenous studies, you know, I saw that despite everything that had happened to them, they were still a very strong and, you know, powerful culture that had overcome so many things. And I remember being invited up to Cape York, right in the northern part, as part of working with the Royal Flying Doctor Service. And I was invited up there to run a circle up there. And I remember getting off the plane and going, holy shit, what the hell's going on here? Okay. Thank God I had lived in West Africa, because it was like a war zone. Okay, it was like a war zone. What was happening up there was, at that time, this is 7-8 years ago now, there were, through all the trauma they had been through, they were acting out. And, you know, like any children and a child in a classroom, anybody that is being, you know, has suffered a great trauma, they were acting out. So they're acting out. The police come along and say, you're acting out. And in order for you to able to access your, you know, your Medicare, your Centrelink, your welfare payment, you are going to have to be medicated because you cannot control yourself. And so I was up there watching people who had all these tics. It was like one flew out the cuckoo's nest, had all these tics and things going on. They were being medicated and injected every 2 weeks in order to stop them acting out and talking about their trauma and their pain, in order to control them, okay? But they were in a far, far, far off, far, far, far away land. And so we just didn't have to see it. We didn't need to see it. But that is what this government was doing to its own Indigenous people. And my professor, who I work with, Judy Atkinson, has done her utmost, and she will go into these communities. Let me tell you, she's a fierce woman. But she goes into these communities when the whole thing's breaking down to stop that happen, to try and get them to come together, to sit them down, to get the elders together, to sit down and go, do you want that? Because that's your other option. You know, we need to talk about what's happened to you. We need to start to heal. And in order to start to heal, we need to talk about our trauma. And when we consent and allow that to happen to our Indigenous people, to our most marginalised people, it's only a matter of time before it comes marching towards us. And I remember, you know, my neighbour who's a GP telling us a story of, you know, quite an important person from, I don't know what they did, but down in Canberra, which is where our government is here. And they had flown up to Gold Coast during one of the last lockdowns to see their mother, who was dying and very sick. And while they were in the quarantine for 14 days, they were told that somebody knocked, the border police came and knocked on the door and said, listen, just to say that your mother's died, and so you don't need to be here anymore, so we have booked you in a flight back out of here. And she was like, sorry, what? They went, no, your mum's dead, so you don't need to complete your quarantine. You could, but she's like, but I need to see my family. I need to organise a funeral. No, that's not happening. We're putting you back on a plane. And she was like, this is outrageous against my human rights. She went back. So anyway, she was deported out of that state, sent back home, and where she said, right, I am going to advocate. This is not right. And the reason these things are now happening to us, white privileged people, is because it's been happening to marginalised people for a long time here in Australia, as it has in many other countries. It's been happening to them. They've been pushed to the side of society. They've been medicated. They've been forced to do things. And the government's got away with it, and it creeps up. It creeps up, and now it's coming for the privileged white people who are now finding themselves in a situation, and Sonia Renee Taylor talks about this, where we have this system, this patriarchal system that's been set up, top down, okay? And depend where you are on the ladder. So let's say white male, blue-eyed male as at the top of the ladder. Let's say black, Hispanic, Indigenous woman is at the bottom of the ladder, okay? And depending where you kind of fit in between, depending on what the size of your body, whether you're fat, slim, it's where you kind of fit on the ladder. And now what's happening, the government is doing, and this is why there is such an uprising, is because suddenly the white male who's at the top of the ladder, but who's choosing not to be vaccinated, is suddenly being shifted down. And the black woman who is doubly vaccinated is being put up to the top. And she's being able to access all these services that he's not going to be able to access because he's vaccinated. So of course, suddenly you have educated people with power standing up for their rights, their human rights, which is exactly what this issue is about. I'm going to say one more thing. I'm going to say two more things about this, and then I'll go on to my reading. And I'm sorry to be a bit ranty, but this is really important for me. Yesterday I was at our outdoor markets, and I bumped into this friend who was helping kind of police the whole thing. And I said, oh, how's it going? And she said, oh, it was fine. Apart from the usual bunch who are all going, I don't need to wear a mask because I've been, traumatized. Let me tell you, I have spoken to two girlfriends recently who have told me that wearing a mask reminds them of their abuser. A girlfriend who was in a domestic abuse marriage, used to be held here or over here, and another girlfriend who was raped. I've got to be very honest and say, I find it very uncomfortable. And the reason I find it uncomfortable, though I can bear it for short periods of time, is because when I was a child, I used to be not forced, but I had to share a bed with my elder sister. And I'm not blaming her for this at all. But she was a very light sleeper, and I used to snore. And when I used to wake up, when I used to snore in the night, my sister would wake up, and instead of booting me like that, she would put her hand over my face, pinch my nose, and she would suffocate me. So I would wake up unable to breathe, okay? Anything close around my face is triggered in a very visceral level from an experience that happened to me when I was 8 to 12 to 15. That's in my physical body, okay? I can't just forget that. But, I preach trauma resilience, and I'm working at it, and it's getting easier for me to wear one. But that's where I'm coming from, and that's, for a lot of people, that's where they're coming from. And so when they have the courage to say, you know what, I'm not wearing one because of my trauma, they're not doing it lightly. They're doing it because they have experienced a rape or an abuse or some level of abuse which has really is in their cells, okay? And when we fail to find the Queen of Cups, who features in this week's reading, which I'll get round to in a minute, we are in that very patriarchal mindset, which is do as you're fucking told, do as you're told, and put up with it, okay? When we lack that level of compassion, we are in a dictatorship. We are in that very patriarchal male energy, and we are enabling it, and we are the mouthpiece for it, okay? And we need to be really careful, because as women, we need to be careful. If we're for the Me Too movement and we're for, woman and power and, all the rest of it, you better make sure that you're very clear about what you're for in this moment. Because right now, you are in effect condoning a rape, okay? A rape. If you are asking people to consent to something they don't want to consent to, all right? And I'm going to leave this with some of the teachings and the learnings that I got from from Healing the Mother Wound, okay? When you are working with transgenerational trauma, when you're healing transgenerational trauma, there is a period of time that you need to step away from the abuser, okay? So let's just say you were in a situation where you had a very abusive father, there may be sexual abuse there, but you have a society that goes, oh yes, but happy families, we all need to stick together, blood is thicker than water, we all need to be together. Let's not talk about this thing, okay? That mantra is very, very dominant, okay? Do as you're told, just put up with it, don't say anything, the family need to be together. When you are choosing to stand up against that family system and go, you know what? It's enough. It's enough. I am not putting up with that abuse anymore. I'm walking away. You're braving the wilderness, as Brené Brown says. Bethany Webster says, you have two choices. You either put up with the abuse, the resentment, the anger, the impact that it has on your body. That's your choice. That's choice number one. Choice number two is you walk away and you feel the guilt. You feel the guilt. It's one or the other, okay? And that's the choice that a lot of people are feeling right now. You're either following public health guidelines and doing as you're told, you're being told and threatened, or you're braving the wilderness and you're feeling the guilt of everybody who's finger pointing at you going, you're not doing the right thing, you're not doing the right thing, you're letting everybody down. You have to deal with that, or you have to deal with going against what you feel within inside you that does not feel right. You're choosing not to consent to a rape, okay? You're choosing to have autonomy over your own body, okay? And you're saying, no thanks, not for me, doesn't feel right. For whatever reason, it does not feel right. May have a medical condition, may just not feel right, may not have enough information out there at the moment. You're just going, doesn't feel right. And any government that is forcing something upon you is the rapist, okay? Is the rapist. And that's all I'm going to say on this. All right, on to this week's reading. I've just pulled cards from the tarot, and I have got, sorry, I'm just going to take a moment because I know that was a lot. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for listening. I see a few people there, and I really appreciate you being a witness to me, standing in my truth and talking about what is important to me and sharing some of the things, the stories I've heard, some of the truths I've seen. It's never easy sharing your experiences because you are always potentially open to the abuse and the finger pointing of other people. So I do this knowing that potentially there'll be a lot of people that have got a lot of good ideas about what I said. But I just feel very, very strongly about what I've just said. And I knew I couldn't just come on here and just do my normal reading because I felt like then I was just being of this massive disservice, having asked for guidance, this massive disservice to a part of me that was going, no, you need to actually talk about this. And you need to talk about it in, you know, in a way that people really understand. And so thank you very much to everybody who has continued to be here while I've talked about this. I really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, reading for this week. Okay, we have got an overarching theme, and I decided to pick a card from The Dragon Deck by Diane Cooper, and it's the Gold and Silver Flame Dragon. Okay, I always pull dragons when dragons are so powerful. They're just this amazing kind of protective energy, and they have this amazing ability to transmute with the fire. Anyway, the Gold and Silver Violet Flame Dragon transmute old around with wisdom and grace. So this is about, it feels to me like this is an opportunity to just, can we just release all the ways maybe that we've suppressed our truth, and allow ourselves to speak more freely. You know, whatever it is that you're wanting to let go of, and it's not let go of, it's almost like you're inviting in a new part of you to be expressed. It's transmuting the old way around you with wisdom and grace, okay? And it's time for transmutation, magic and healing, offer service under grace. And in some ways that today is what I have been offering you, is offering my truth, my experience, the wisdom that I have gained in my 54 years on this planet, all that I have seen, all that I have observed, the patterns that I have worked through, the trauma that I've, you know, expressed and talked about and worked through. All that I have studied is here to be of service, with grace, because I'm really wanting us to find this compassion and empathy piece that seems to be missing at the moment. So Gold and Silver Violet Flame Dragon is our overarching theme, is finding grace, wisdom, to transmute this old energy that we're seeing, which is around do as you're told. You know, this very patriarchal, heavy male energy. That's what it feels like to me, okay? And the Queen of Cups is coming up as our first card, okay? And I really feel it's around self-compassion, compassion for self, because even if we have been one of the people that have been finger pointing or mocking or whatever, can we have compassion for ourselves? Because we can't always see things as they are. There's been a lot of confusion. A girlfriend of mine has been saying, I've been so confused. It's so confusing. It's just really confusing. Yes, it is confusing. And the reason it's confusing, I always know if there's confusion at play, it's because somebody's trying to get us to own their stuff, okay? Somebody's trying to, there's a manipulation going on. There's something going on underneath. And underneath the Queen, there's just this wee one sort of mucking about underneath, and there's a lot of emotions coming up. And it's like, be kind and compassionate to yourself, okay? This is tough. This is really, really tough at the moment. The other card that we've got, the second card that we've got, is this Joy card, okay? And for me, I know what I'm doing at the moment is I'm finding the joy. I went up to the regional gallery here, and I had a look at the Margaret Ollie exhibition, and she's got her old studios being recreated there, and it's just magic. And it's overlooking this, the gallery overlooks Wollumben, which is a sacred mountain to the Aboriginal people, the Bundjalung people here. And I saw my beautiful friend Shell, and it was a celebration of her photography exhibition. And And then yesterday I got up really early and I went down to the beach, and I've been on my swing every day, going, you know, when I walk my dogs, get on my swing. I've been finding these joys just to really help ground me. Because when we don't find the joy and we're in that perpetual sort of, oh my God, fight and flight state, we will lose our center, and we are far more susceptible to mind control and people telling us how to think. And this is really a time for us to think about, who do I want to be at this time? Who do I want to be? What do I want to be aligned with? What do I want to be aligned with? So find the joy to balance out that seriousness and that overwhelm that is out there right now. And the last card is the Four of Swords, which you can see, you know, this rest. The Four of Swords is always, you know, when there's a lot of stuff going on in the mental arena, when it just, you know, you're just like, I can't even think anymore. And I'll give you an example. When I was about to do my speech, I was doing a speech for the Pierces Creek Talks, and it was about talking about a woman on land, but I wanted to share much more of my story than that. And I was talking about patriarchal depletion and lots of things. And I remember I had so many ideas in my head, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to get this done. I've got to get this done. And I got to the Sunday, and I was just exhausted, and I had to write it for the Thursday. I could remember a girlfriend of mine going, you hadn't even, and you were 4 days off, you hadn't done anything. And I went, no, I hadn't. And I got to the Sunday, and I was like, oh my God, I really need to. And I was so tired. I was so tired because what else had been going on? There's something else had been going on. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't. And so I gave myself this card. I think I picked this card, which is boundaries, which is I give myself 24 hours not to have to think about this at all. It's not allowed to come into my frame whatsoever, okay? And so I gave myself 24 hours grace of not having to think about it, okay? And then the Monday morning, I sat down at my desk and boom, it was out of me in minutes. It was done. It was done within 2 hours, okay? And then, you know, I kind of refined it, and, you know, I read it to my girlfriend the Tuesday morning. She went, oh my God, this is amazing. How long have you been working on it? And I went, 24 hours. She went, you are joking. I went, no. That's what happens when you give yourself the grace of this card, okay? So if it's all getting too much for you, you know, delete the app from your phone, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, okay? Just take it off, take it off. Take yourself off for a day. Just, you know, shut yourself down, plug in your earphones, listen to lovely music, you know, do all the things. Take a mental health day for yourself. You know, do all the things, you know, phone in sick. Just take a break. Take a break, okay? Shore up some self-care, self-compassion, self-love, radical self-love, as Sonia Renee calls it, radical self-love. Which is really listening to what you need, not what you're being told by anybody else, what you need to do. And finding the joys, finding the beauty out there, okay? Finding the beauty out there, allowing it to fill you up, allowing it to fill you up. And again, just remembering, we are transmuting old stuff with wisdom and grace, which means when we do it with wisdom and grace, it's like with compassion. I mean, I get why people are jumping up and down. I get why people are jumping up and down, because they're being told and they're susceptible. And they think, you know, it's the right thing. I get that. I understand that. And here's the thing. My husband is choosing to have the vaccine. I don't have a problem with people having the vaccine. My daughter's had the vaccine. Okay? I don't have a problem with people having the vaccine. You know, it's happening in my family. There is no division in my family. I completely respect my husband to do the right thing for his body and my daughter to do the right thing for her body. Okay? But I'm going to do the right thing for my body. And my other children will do the right thing for their body. Okay? So, can we just have compassion? Can we just have compassion? instead of jumping into these spaces of binary thinking, which are making people wrong for doing something which doesn't feel right for them, which is in effect a rape, okay? It's a rape. Again, if you're not giving somebody consent, okay, it's a rape. Let's be really clear about that. All right, let's clear this up. Let's clear this up. Okay, I'm calling in everybody who aligns with this. Let's clear this up this week. Let's release this. Let's brave the wilderness. Let's do the right thing. Let's find compassion for ourselves, because when we find compassion for ourselves, we will find it for other people too. Find the joys in your life. Find the beauty in your life, and take rest breaks regularly. All right. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you being here. Sending you lots and lots and lots of love. As always, I'll see you here next week.